So I am almost willing to consider that this might be good. I don't think it will be, based on everything I've heard, but let it be said that I gave it a chance.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Okay, so that was actually not bad. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. You start with these atmospheric shots of the ocean that say something epic is about to happen here, and then you bring to that what I like to think of as the Russell T Davies signatures, which is that that thing he does in specifically his era of Doctor Who, where he will show the disaster or whatever is happening through the perspective of modern everyday banality, like how it's being covered on television and now social media. If you've seen Years and Years, you will recognize this even more. And I really like that. I know a lot of people find it cheesy, but I like that because that to me shows like if one of these disasters were gonna happen in real life, this is exactly how it would happen. The biggest problem with this writing style, and this is especially so when the story is set within UNIT and all the characters are professionals at dealing with aliens, the big flaw is that his protagonist must also be an ordinary person. You can see that Russell really didn't want his main character to have a military background, and he seemingly bent the entire universe around making it so that you have this increasingly unlikely series of events that propel Russell Tovey, I don't even know his character name, into the heart of the story. I can accept that he gets brought to that island because of internal mismanagement. It doesn't really make the guys that we're supposed to be rooting for look competent, but okay, consider my disbelief suspended. But I draw the line at what the Sea Devils chose him to be their ambassador with humanity because he vaguely respected their dead one time. I'm just not buying it. Power respects power, not you were nice to me one time, so therefore I'll listen to you. That is such a feminized way of looking at it. Imagine if Hamas decided to swear off negotiations with anyone near the top of the Israeli chain of command and negotiate instead with some random libshit who put Free Palestine in her social media bio. Okay, that's the only time I'll bring up politics in this video, because the show has been decent enough so far at hiding its political power levels, so therefore I will respect its wishes and do the same. But man, is it hard to believe that no one, in all the time that UNIT were opening diplomatic channels with the Sea Devils and learning their language for the express purpose of communicating with them peacefully, ever thought to honor their dead. Really says a lot about the rest of humanity if Russell Tovey's actions are implied to be the exception. You see what I mean here? It's implied that UNIT have done this before, and actually they've been doing it for a long time. That has to have narrative significance. Do you think humans are the real villains? Because I think this show is going with humans are the real villains. Now, to be fair, it was fairly nuanced in the first episode. There were a lot of sympathetic humans, and I'm half expecting this nuance to fall away as we get closer to the finale, and humans are revealed for the irresponsible stewards of the land that they truly are, and have to give hashtag land back or oceans back to their rightful owners. By all means, prove me wrong. Now, let's talk about this thing, which was seemingly built at the Sea Devil's request so that proper negotiations could begin, which would have required them to make some negotiations at first that I guess they weren't sure whether they wanted to conduct those negotiations in the water or on dry land, so the humans kind of over-engineered this system to give them both options, and then they conduct their negotiations on dry land anyway. Oh, and before that, there is this long drawn-out sequence of them swimming up the pipe. We can see on a monitor that there are several different types of them. There are seemingly enough sensors inside the pipe that they can distinguish them by species. but not enough to get a visual on them. All those sensors and not even one camera, seemingly just to create fake tension. And if you've seen any of the marketing material, you'd already know one of them was going to be the hot one, so it's not even that big a reveal. But on the whole though, credit where it's due, Unit came across a lot better in this one episode than they did in pretty much all of the last two Disney Who seasons. Unit in Doctor Who are just these sort of like useless cheerleaders for the Doctor. Here they actually do stuff, and they feel like a necessary part of the story in a way they just never did in any of the recent Doctor Who series proper. Yeesh, that's a backhanded compliment. And I'm the one who said it. The worst part is that if my humans are the real villains prediction turns out true, then it's all for nothing. But if I'm going to point out one positive, I like how reverently Russell Tovey talked about the Doctor. I wish Doctor Who itself would portray him with similar reverence, but we promised we'd talk about the positives, didn't we, Ed? Come on! But you have another thing coming, if you think I'm going to go this entire video without mentioning, what the hell is a 99 plated car doing here? Those 2 digits mean it was either made in 1999, 2 years before this numbering scheme went into effect, or it's from the end of the 2040s. Jesus, and I thought Empire of Death was bad for this. But on a serious note, there is a pretty decent story set up in the first episode, and I was pretty positive about it on the day I watched it. I've had a night to sleep on it, which means that I kind of thought of the implications of that Russell Tovey being the only respectful human thing, which has kind of soured me on it, not gonna lie. You know, before I watched it, I recorded this whole ass rant about how, if it's good, it will be good in the same way that Star Wars spin-offs are good, in that they're nothing like Star Wars. But on balance, it just feels too much like Doctor Who. And I mean by that the mediocrity we've gotten used to, with this awful misanthropic streak running through it, and these just nothingy kind of characters. Like I say, the first episode was okay, but I'm expecting that it's all downhill from here. But don't just take my word for it. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll be posting the second episode review in just a few days from now. You won't want to miss it. Okay? I'll see you in the next one. Remember, to love with one heart, hate with the other. And with that, I bid you good night.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.